You just got a 20% raise. In the first week, you feel like you've made it. You can finally breathe a sigh of relief. You start looking at apartments in better neighborhoods. You think about upgrading your car. Maybe you browse some nicer furniture. Fast forward 8 months and you're staring at your bank account, wondering why you feel exactly as broke as you did before the raise. Same stress, same anxiety about unexpected expenses, except now you have a lease that costs $400 more per month and a car payment you convinced yourself you deserved. If this sounds uncomfortably familiar, you need to understand what just happened to you, because it's about to happen again. My name is Sandy, and I spend way too much time thinking about why people who earn more money somehow end up in worse financial shape than when they were broke. If you're someone who's gotten promotions or raises over the last few years, but your savings account looks exactly the same, or you're making 50% more than you did 3 years ago, but you still feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Because what I'm about to show you is why most people never build wealth, no matter how much their income grows. Here's the thing. We're told our whole lives that the path to financial security is simple. Get a better job, make more money, and your problems will solve themselves. Except that's not what happens for most people. What actually happens is this insidious cycle where every dollar you earn above what you used to make immediately gets absorbed into a slightly fancier version of your life. And the gap between what you earn and what you save stays exactly the same, or in many cases, it actually shrinks. Let me show you the math on this, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's say you're making $60,000 a year right now. You're saving about 5%, which is $3,000 annually. Not amazing, but you're doing something. Then you get promoted and boom, you're making $75,000. That's $15,000 more dollars a year, or about $12,000 after taxes. Now look, if you kept living exactly how you were living on $60,000 and saved that entire difference, you'd be saving $15,000 a year instead of $3,000. You just went from saving 5% of your income to saving 20%. That's the difference between retiring broke and retiring wealthy. That's actual generational wealth building money. But here's what actually happens. You get that raise and your brain immediately starts doing this thing where it invents new categories of necessary spending. You think, well, I'm more senior now, I should probably dress better for work. That's $200 a month on clothes you didn't need before. You move to a nicer place because you can finally afford it and you've been cramped for years. That's $500 more per month. You upgrade your car because the old one is embarrassing now that you're parking in the company lot next to your peers. That's another $400 a month. You start eating out more because you're working longer hours and you're too tired to cook. You get the premium gym membership. You add a few more subscriptions because why not? You can afford it now. 6 months later, you add it all up and you're still saving $3,000 a year. The exact same amount, except now you're locked into higher fixed costs. You probably have more debt from the car. And here's the really dark part. You've actually become more financially fragile than you were before. Because all those upgrades, they feel necessary now. That nicer apartment isn't a luxury anymore, it's your baseline. The car payment isn't optional, it's just what you pay. And the idea of going back to your old lifestyle feels impossible, like you'd be failing or moving backwards in life. This is where it gets interesting. There's this concept in psychology called the hedonic treadmill, and it explains why lottery winners end up just as happy as they were before they won after about a year. And it explains why you feel exactly as broke making $75,000 as you did making $60,000. Humans adapt to their circumstances incredibly quickly. That amazing new apartment that made you so excited, you stop noticing it after about 6 weeks. It just becomes where you live. The new car? After a month, it's just your car. The novelty wears off, but the expense remains forever. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Sandy, but what's the point of making more money if I'm supposed to live like I'm still making entry-level income for my entire life? Isn't that just depressing? And look, I get it. That's a fair question. But here's what you're missing. I'm not saying never improve your lifestyle. What I'm saying is that most people improve their lifestyle at the exact same rate they improve their income, which means they never actually get ahead. They just get better at being broke. Let me give you some numbers that are going to make you uncomfortable. That $12,000 extra per year we talked about, the after-tax difference between $60,000 and $75,000, if you invested that in a basic index fund, averaging 7% annual returns, here's what you'd have. After 10 years, you wouldn't have $120,000. You'd have $166,000 because of compound growth. After 20 years, you wouldn't have $240,000. You'd have $491,000. After 30 years, you'd have over $1.1 million from just that one raise that you instead spent on a nicer apartment and a newer car.